as the part that is so badass that this thing that I used to feel just such deep guttural to my very core shame and horror about now gets me on a microphone to anybody who wants to listen. I have listeners in Singapore, you know what I mean? Like across the globe. I would love for there to be more. We have a small but mighty community here, but like anybody in the world can hear me tell that story about the day I walked down the hall with a bottle in my hand. You can Google Liz McKean, and I've been on multiple podcasts where I've told more stories about the things that I've done and the drinking that, really unraveled me again and again and again. And the part of me that used to be like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'm getting this for you. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You are good. Welcome to Starfish Hypnosis. I am your host, Liz McKean. In this podcast, we meander through our conscious and subconscious minds, and we do that without a lick of shame. In these episodes, you are going to hear stories. You're going to hear a lot of metaphors because that's how I make sense of the world. We're going to take some big breaths together, and you are going to hear reminder after loving reminder that you are not doing it wrong. Any of this. I am so glad that you're here. So let's go. Hello and welcome to Starfish Hypnosis. I'm Liz. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that I'm here. I start every episode with a pretty similar sentiment, and I always mean it, like genuinely. It's funny because there's so many things, and this could be partially ADHD brain talking, that I know I want to do. And I know as soon as I start doing it, I'm going to feel great. And yet there can be like this weird resistance of like, I don't wanna. And then as soon as I do it, I'm like, this is great. I'm so glad that I sat down and started talking into this microphone. So if that is an experience that you have too, I see you. And if it is not an experience you have, teach me your wisdom ways. Anyways, before we go any further, let's do another thing that feels really good and take some breaths together. So if you're new here, we take three big breaths at the top and bottom of these episodes, and you're welcome to join along or not, whatever floats your boat. So if you are in a place that you can, give your body a little bit of a shake, maybe just shake your hands out, maybe roll your shoulders back, head can rock side to side, unclench your jaw, and then take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And out with a big sigh. That's the stuff. Take another one. Big breath in. This time, slow down the exhale. Really slow out of the mouth. Yeah, feel the shoulders melt as that breath exits till everything is empty. And then one more we're going to hold. Big breath in. Hold full. Maybe even feel that fullness, that air, that oxygen filling you up, expanding your rib cage. How cool is this body? One more moment, maybe one more little sip of air. And then open your mouth, let it go. Good job. That is one of my very favorite practices in really any moment, but especially moments that are feeling a little tight, a little stressful, a little mind racy. Those 3 breaths in that sequence, which I just made up myself because it felt good. So you get to make up your own. Whatever feels good to you is what's right. And it's just amazing how much it can pull me from a moment where everything feels just intense and stuck and intolerable to a little bit of space to make maybe even just one step in a direction that's going to feel better. And that might be stepping outside to go for a walk. That might be jumping up and down in the middle of a room, taking a shower maybe. There are a whole host of things that I find jar me out of the moment because those moments can feel so everlasting, and they're not. It's the beautiful thing and the terrible thing about this life is that nothing lasts. Not the good, not the bad, not the ugly, not the delicious. And it makes it special. And it also can make it hard. And in the moments when it feels like a feeling is going to last forever, it's a really helpful thing to remember that it won't. that feeling will not last forever, and that you'll be okay. And that it's a big deal to even have the ability to recognize that. So anyways, speaking of moments, seasons, periods of time that feel hard, that feel like they'll last forever, but they won't, because as previously mentioned, they never do. I've been thinking a lot about the language I use around people that reach out to work with me and people that I enjoy working with and people I've worked with and around for years and years. And I talk a lot about shame. I know a lot of people that I particularly can help and have helped struggle with shame as a big blocker for a lot of things. And one of the reasons I have that tool is because of how much I have worked with my own shame, and therefore I've been able to work with others in their shame and seen all these patterns and all these tools. And the other thing I talk about a lot is when you want to want something. My mom and I actually would joke about this all the time, because we both are people who love people. We love our friends and family, and we have a great time doing things with the people. And also, we really cherish time alone. And sometimes we need a little extra nudge to remember that just because that time alone is special and feels good doesn't mean that should be all we do. And so there'll be a lot of things that we are considering doing or invited to do, or maybe we invite one another to do something. You know, it could be something as simple as like going to lunch, going shopping, or it could be, you know, taking a trip or something like that. And it very often starts with, okay, well, I want to. I'm working on getting to the space where I want to, because until I'm at that place where I want to, I'm not going to actually take steps towards doing the thing. I'm not going to make the plan. I'm not going to put it on my calendar. I want to. I really wish I was a person in this moment who wanted to go and do this thing. And yet, there's just a few barriers in between me and that. And it's such a helpful framing. Like, we laugh about it because we talk about it a lot. We both get in that space. And that's not a bad thing either. Like, there are plenty of times to be like, well, I want to go to that, you know, baseball game or something with you. But I know that I don't actually want to. And that's not going to change. And that's okay. You know, that's fine. I don't need to want to. And, and when I look at people that I work with who are almost across the board trying to stop doing something, very often it is drinking alcohol, but that is not the only thing. And there's a lot of coping strategies, behaviors, habits, whatever you want to call them, that we get reliant on. And, you know, and sometimes that reliance is very much by design. I mean, alcohol is incredibly addictive, as are a whole lot of other substances that people get become dependent on physically. And that is it was made that way. It was made to make you need it in that way. I mean, we can go into a whole nother conversation about physical dependence versus emotional, mental, etc. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Maybe another episode. But I find that a lot of people come at that want to change state. And the thing that is most present, most real in that season, in that moment, is shame. And shame, I think it's Brene Brown who has said, I might have even said this in another episode, but there's, you know, people talk about shame and guilt as if they're the same thing. And they're not. Guilt is, I did something bad. And shame is, I am something bad. I am bad. And those are very different. And guilt is something, if I did something bad, I can say I'm sorry and change it, the thing. There's some distance between me, who I am as a person, as the self, and the thing. If I feel shame and I have identified myself as whatever that thing is defined. If I've decided, I'm not trying to say that if you are a person who has a coping mechanism, even one that you desperately want to stop, I'm not trying to say that that is a bad thing, because I genuinely don't believe that. I think it is the humanest of human things to look for something that is going to make your life feel more tolerable and feel like you need it and have it become something that you rely on. That is just a very human thing. It's not bad. It's not good. It just is. Anyways, but if you have, and society has labeled this thing as bad, this either the thing itself or maybe the activity of doing it. You know, I could go into, there's so many podcasts we could go into within this one podcast, but there is a lot of PR that has been fed to us around a lot of things. Drinking is one of them. There's a million things in the health department that you can point to that we have decided to moralize. That like, this thing is bad if you do it in this way, it's bad. Other people did it in a different way and they're fine. It's because they're good. They could handle it, but you did it this way and therefore you're bad and, you know, ruining it for everybody or whatever. And that's all bullshit. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. So anyways, if you're hearing that message from anyone, anywhere, anything, that's bullshit. So if you are, however, feeling strongly that a thing or a behavior that you are doing is bad, and you have identified that it represents you and that you doing this thing means that you are bad, how in the heck are you ever going to change that thing? And I know that this experience does not feel resonant necessarily for everyone. This is the beautiful thing about the world that we live in, and certainly the conversations around this topic in particular, recovery in particular, has a lot of very passionate camps. So again, if this one ever feels like it doesn't quite click for you, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Doesn't mean I'm doing anything wrong. It just means that the people that have this experience tend to be the people that I work with. And I'm so grateful for that, because I wish I had felt more seen in some of those days when I was in the place of doing a thing that I had labeled as bad and therefore labeling myself as bad. And I was fortunate to find some blogs, podcasts, etc., that made me feel seen. And I hope that's what this is going to be able to do for you. So if you are in this camp with me and you feel this shame and there is this thing that has been sold to you as bad, as you are bad if you do this thing and you are doing this thing and maybe nobody even knows that you're doing this thing and you have decided it means that you are bad, that is not guilt. That is shame. That is shame. That is identity. That is identity, identifying yourself as bad. And there's just not a lot of hope in that. I mean, obviously, you know, people can change, identity can shift over time, things like that. But really that mechanism of shame is generally telling us that that's not possible. And when you are in a place where you want to put something down, very often that space, it's almost like a geographical location. The air that we're breathing there is often shame. Because usually that first want, that wanting to want is like, I wish I was a different person who didn't need this thing. I wish I was a better person who wasn't doing this thing. Instead of like, I'm thinking about making this big change because I think it would be good for me. And I'm still debating whether or not it's the right choice for me. We're not usually making logical conversation with ourselves in that want space when we're talking about a coping mechanism like alcohol or another substance or activity that is harming us. You know, pretty objectively, that's typically what's happening. But the thing is, there's like two. I really like using parts language when I talk about this, and I want to just preface by saying I am not a internal family systems therapist, which is where a lot of that parts language comes from. But I really like a lot of the theory in there, not all of it, to be honest, but like I like a lot of the theory and I like the language around that, because I do often feel like there are different parts of me that are pretty sure about a certain action or belief or story. Some of them really, really benefit me, and some of them really, really don't. Sometimes I close my eyes and I picture on my other podcast that I do with my friend Bryce, I've always called it like the round table of Liz's, and he calls it the council of Liz's. Especially when I will, within one conversation, disagree with a thing that I previously said, or like be like, on the other hand, I'm like, well, the council of Liz's have entered the chat. So, but I really think so many of us have that, especially us deep thinkers and deep feelers. And so many of us deep thinkers and deep feelers are the ones who do get hooked on these coping mechanisms, whether it's a substance or something else, because we are the ones who think deeply, who feel deeply, and that can make life feel very challenging. So if you are in this moment just really, really down on yourself, may I just offer that you are a deep thinker and a deep feeler, incredibly sensitive and, canary in the coal mine kind of vibes. And the world needs you and needs me and needs more of us. And there are ways that we can tolerate being in these coal mines without this thing that is hurting you. Anyways, I digress. I just felt like I needed to say that for somebody who was listening. It just came over me. So if it was you, I see you in a loving way, not in a creepy way. All right, so back to our want to want and the shame that we are swimming in, breathing in, whatever the heck world this is that the want to change moment is. It's just so much a shame season. And the shame is not only taking away your peace in all the ways, it's also in the way of making that change because it's made it about identity and it's made it about morality as opposed to what's going to be really best for precious you, for precious, precious you. And the interesting thing about it is back to this parts conversation. And if you're not familiar with that language and internal family systems, it's a therapeutic framework by Richard something. Oh, I was so proud because I remembered his name for a moment and then I lost his last name. But it's very interesting because when you first hear about it, you're like, oh, it's family therapy. Nope. It is internal family systems, as in like the family that lives in your council of Liz's that are inside of you, but substitute Liz with your name. You're essentially identifying and having therapeutic conversations with all those different parts of you that are inside of you. Excuse me. So I think of the want to change moment, season, whatever, as having two really significant parts involved. And the one is the part of you that is just so full of shame and really spewing that shame all at the rest of you. So just really trying like that is a propagandizing part. Like, let me make sure that all the parts know how ashamed that I am of you and how shameful this person is that we are, encompassing. And then there is this other part that is the part that is making sure that you get that thing that you feel that you need. That is the part that is sure that you need this thing. So I'm going to use alcohol just so that I stop creating all these caveats around it. But if we're talking about alcohol, again, substitute this with whatever it is that you are navigating. The part that is like, no, we're going to drink. Like, fuck all everybody else. We are getting this alcohol in us because that is what we need to survive. And that is also the part that is actually both parts are really going to be resistant to asking for help because the shame part doesn't want anybody to know. It's like, hide. This is so shameful. Stop. Why don't you stop? You're such a terrible person. Don't tell anybody. Oh my God. And then the alcohol grabbing part is like, if I tell anybody, they will take this from me. This will be taken from me. My life source, the thing I need as much as I need oxygen. So if those two pieces are very present in this moment of want to change, I mean, that sucks, right? Because first of all, they are at direct odds at each other. The shame part is like, screw you, alcohol drinker part. You are ruining our lives and you're the reason we're so bad. The alcohol drinker part is like, screw you, shame. I'm going to do what I want. And honestly, if you say that I'm bad, then why not? I'm just going to be bad. I'm going to do this thing because it's the only thing I need and want anyways. Meanwhile, there's you, like the you that is just hearing all of this noise and battle and just trying to survive one day at a time. And if you get to the point, when you get to the point that you say out loud, even to just yourself, that like, I need help with this, or I don't want this to be my reality anymore. Like, know what an act of strength that is, what an act of courage that is, because it's scary as hell, because you are risking that shame being seen and expanded. You are risking somebody hearing that you want to put down this thing that you continue to put into your body. And that's a really, really scary moment. And I love working with people in that moment. First of all, because my very first priority is for you to know what a badass you are for even acknowledging it, even to yourself, much less to me. And two, that I'm not taking anything from you. I don't have that power. I mean, I'm a person who, when I was in that moment of want to change, of being full of shame, being full of just absolute commitment to continuing to drink, and at the same time being like, but I don't want this to be my life. I want this not to be my life. And I see the people I'm hurting. I see myself that I'm hurting, and my life is falling apart around me, and yet I don't have any other choices. And I would have family members and, my husband, like babysit me to take away any resources I had to try that I could use to get the alcohol. I would still find a way. So even when someone tries to take something away like this, they can't. So that part of you that thinks that is like, I have to drink to survive is really clenchy, especially in the moments right after you've asked for help, especially in the moments where you've gotten a little closer to wanting to change. You're almost past that first want. It's going to clench. You're going to feel that immediate clench because you feel like your freedom's going to be taken away. You feel like something's going to be taken from you. The shame's going to get really loud. And so both sides, I'm not on I might be on video. We'll see. Both of my fists are clenched as I'm representing these two. And that can feel like a really terrible, stuck place to be in. If you're listening to this and you're in this moment, my guess is that I really riled you right up because I could feel it in my chest too. So for a moment, before we go further, I promise I'm going to rile us back down. Take a deep breath in through your nose and take a big, slow breath out. Good job. Let your heart rate start to slow. Let's do another, just like that. Big breath in and slow breath out. Good. Notice that heartbeat in your chest. You're okay. You're here right now. You're not in danger. You're safe. You're okay. You're not in trouble. Everything's good. Even the stuff that's not good in this moment, you're good. Okay? Cool. So when I work with somebody who is in that moment, in that want forest, the first thing we do is we sit down with that shame. We let that other fist that's clenched, that other part that's like, I have to have alcohol, I'm going to die. It's just like, we're going to just let you have a tantrum in the corner right now. And that's fine. We're not changing anything. I'm not even in your house. I mean, I work with people on a Zoom screen, so like you can do whatever you want. I'm not in charge of you, but like, let's sit down with the shame. Let's look at it and be like, oh, sweetheart, you're not bad. You're good. You wouldn't even have this shame. You wouldn't have this feeling of horror if you were bad. You are good. You are doing the best that you can. And this insistence on making it about who you are as a person, this insistence on just knowing you are just bad and terrible and weak and all the mean things that you say to yourself. It's you trying to take care of you, trying to protect you, trying to force you to do a different thing. It's like when you yell at a little kid having a tantrum. Does that ever stop the tantrum? No. That's just more upsetting, right? So it's like, all right, a little shamey part of ourselves. Let's like take a few breaths. And I love working with hypnosis as a tool within coaching because we get to go right into the subconscious. We get to talk directly to that part. And we get to take that little part by the hand and go to a peaceful place. We get to sit down. Maybe we hear the birds. Like we can create a whole scene of peace around this sweet little, often childlike part of you. And breathe and pause and remember who you are. You are good. You are just a person doing person things. You are doing the best that you can. And we do that again and again and again in a million different ways until that little shamey part might still be pretty upset about the way that we are doing life right now, But it's about the behavior. It's about the thing, and it's not about you. And the want, the need, the desire, the hope that a change can happen is less about I need to change who I am as a person because I'm bad and I need to be good, or I'm bad and so there's no hope. No, it's none of that. It's I really love me and so I deserve something better. And this might be a way to feel better. The other thing that changes when we're able to like soften those shame edges is that shamey part can see the drinking part a lot more clearly. Instead of seeing it as the bad guy be the villain in the story, that we keep the part that is able to shut down everything else every time you think I'm going to go get this thing, I'm going to go do this thing. It's amazing how powerful that part is in literally slamming the door shut behind it when it's like, I remember walking down a hallway to go. I had this happen a million times, but there's a very specific time that I think it was one of the last actually, that I remember walking down the hallway to the building I lived in with alcohol, and I could hear all the other thoughts and knowings of where this is going to go. I have a bottle in my hand. This is not going to end well. And literally like a sensation, just like a door slamming on all that noise so that it could just be me and that bottle. And it did not end well, I will tell you, my friends. That was a bad, bad day. But I digress. So that's a powerful part. But also, that is a badass part. That is a part that is so fucking in your corner that it will burn down your life to make sure you get the thing that it is so sure that you need. And it's wrong. It's misinformed. It's just only has ever had this one tool, this one button to push, right? But that power, that insistence on you getting what the fuck you need in that moment that you need it, that part that literally can take over your whole brain and make you do things that you can't even believe you did. That is a part that, if it is directed in the right direction, can save your fucking life. It thinks it's saving your life right now. It's just doing it in a way that's not. That's having the opposite effect. But again, these are like the thing that I like too about parts therapy and this internal family systems that I didn't mean to go quite in as much detail about, but I always go in more detail about things I don't mean to, is that a lot of the parts, the conversation around the parts is that they form when you're very young. So they are like, you really can look at them as like precious little baby parts of you. And so this part that like is so insistent on the drinking, like if it can be seen for the powerhouse of like gonna keep you safe no matter what that it is, as opposed to the villain, the bad guy, the one that is screwing it all up, then like what a gift, And like to have those, like, so that's the next one that we look at. Like, you are so strong. Like, oh my God. You are so strong. This insistence that you have, despite all odds, despite all evidence to the contrary, and people trying to maybe help you do something different, you are so dedicated to protecting this resource, this, again, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's something else, but like this ability to go drink because you think it's the only way for us to survive, that like, look at what you've done. Look at what you've done. And we can use that. And like, how beautiful is it if the part that used to feel like its job was to make you feel all shame and just convince you you're a terrible person suddenly is just a part that cares so much about you doing things that are going to be good for you, that it can do that lovingly. Because it knows, because it can, that you are a good person. And then this part that is like, no, I'm going to keep fucking doing this thing no matter what. And also the moment I ask for help, I'm going to do it even harder because now I'm scared you're going to take it from me. Actually sees that nobody is attacking you. Nobody's attacking it. Nobody's trying to take anything away, actually. We're just going to suggest that maybe there's other ways. There's other ways that you can survive. And that part I recognize in me as the part that absolutely won't go near alcohol, as the part that is so badass that this thing that I used to feel just such deep guttural to my very core shame and horror about now gets me on a microphone to anybody who wants to listen. I have listeners in Singapore, you know what I mean? Like across the globe. I would love for there to be more. We have a small but mighty community here, but like anybody in the world can hear me tell that story about the day I walked down the hall with a bottle in my hand. and you can Google Liz McKean, and I've been on multiple podcasts where I've told more stories about the things that I've done in the drinking that, really unraveled me again and again and again. And the part of me that used to be like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says, I'm getting this for you, is now the part that says, I don't give a fuck what anybody says, I can use this to help people. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You are good. And I've got you. And now those are the voices that are inside of me. And now those are the parts that are sitting at the round table, the Council of Liz's. They don't always agree. But what they do agree on is that I am good and I am worthy of a happy life. And we're all going to come to a conclusion for, whatever decisions that we make day to day to day that keep that going. And a big part of that is, how can we help other people? How can we make sure that I, don't feel alone and scared, in the ways that I have in the past? And a big part of that is talking about it. Because without fail, every time I do, you all, or anybody who's hearing me comes to me and says, me too, or I never heard it that way, or I thought I was the only one who felt that way. I'm really scared to say this out loud to another person, but I think I really need help with this thing. And then when they have that immediate like, oh shit, clench. Oh God, no, I don't think I actually want your help because you're going to take it from me feeling like I know that's coming and we can work through that together. And it becomes a partnership of respect, of care, not a punishment, because you don't need to be punished. We can love you through this. So wherever you are, wherever that landed for you, whether you are someone who is going through this right now, if you're in the forest of the want to want, or the ocean, or whatever the heck, I feel like I mixed up 18 metaphors there, but if you're still with me, I know you're with me. Then breathe. Know that you're not going to be in this forest forever. Know that there is support. There are others that feel this way, that have felt this way and have gotten through it. And that if you want to work with me, I would love to work with you. This summer, I am going to be opening up a few spots for one-on-one coaching that always involves some hypnotherapy as well. For a pretty deeply discounted rate. I'm making a really big move this summer that I'll probably talk about on maybe the next podcast, because it's interesting and it's brought up a lot of reflections that I'm hoping will be helpful to share. But it's just like making my schedule a little bit wonky. And so I want to invite some more people to work with me. And I want that to be in a way that is flexible for me and a way that is very affordable for you. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, please do. I am at liz.mckeen. There's also a Starfish Hypnosis, that's just at Starfish Hypnosis, Instagram account that you can find either of them from. Like, I'm both are tagged in each other. The Starfish Hypnosis one is specifically for the podcast. And the Liz.McKean one is me, and that's where I am the most present, although I am giving myself an intention to be more present there because I've not been very in the last, few weeks, months, whatever. But we're going to get there, and I will be posting about offerings there, and you're also welcome to send me a DM anytime because I love to hear from you. And if all you do is just listen to this podcast and take some breaths, that is also a big deal. It is courageous. It's also incredibly supportive of the work that I'm doing here. So thank you for being here. And if you are so inclined to subscribe, rate, review, all those things, that goes a long way. So this is a longer one than usual. So let's stop here and take some breaths. Maybe give yourself another little shake. I love to just shake out a little bit of energy. Dogs do it for a reason, And then they just leave it behind. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Out with a sigh. Good job. Big breath in. How slow can you exhale out of your mouth? Feel that heart rate slow, shoulders drop. Yeah. Last one we're going to hold. Big breath in. Hold at the top. Maybe smile. One more breath in, little sip, and let it go. Beautiful job. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being you, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please be sure that you have hit that subscribe button and send this episode to somebody who you think would enjoy it. You can find me on Instagram at Starfish Hypnosis, same thing on Threads. And of course, if you'd like to work with me, go to my website at lizmckeen.com. A big thank you and hug to my dear friend Mo Houston at Joy Scout Studios, who created the beautiful artwork that is the cover for this podcast. And another big thank you to my editor-producer, Sean Gritters. He's incredible, and if you'd like to work with him, his email will also be linked in the show notes. We will see you next week.